Okay, now I just want to show you how you can calculate logs or other things within Gretl very easily. That's a very nice function. You just click add up here and you can create the log of a selected variable or the square term of a selected variable, which you might need for testing nonlinear relations, as we will talk about in the lecture. When you have time-based data, you can also do lags, first differences, which can be very important, is often needed, and it's good that Gretl has this easy function to calculate these things. You can also standardize your selected variables, which is also a nice thing if you're looking out for outliers through the standardization method. You know, if it's higher than 3, the standardized value, you may want to consider this as an outlier and look into it and then make a theoretically a valid decision. Now you can create an index variable, which is just an identifier variable, right? And all of these things. So that's quite nice. What I really wanted to show you is what you do when you have negative values, or what you can do when you have negative values. Now, in this data set, there are no negative values, for example, in total variable costs. You can always check that with right click and go into summary statistics and taking a look at the minimum value. 6.4. Now, what we can do, however, is to edit this data. I'll just edit the first value and make it minus 99, because that's simple. Do you want to save the changes? Yes, I want to. And if I now do the same summary statistics, I get a minimum of minus 99. Okay. Now, if I would go to add and take the log of the selected variable, it will tell me that, okay, that's just a name warning. That doesn't matter, but it would usually tell me that it has now deleted some numbers from my data set. For example, the first one, because it was negative, right? You know, we can't take a negative, the log of a negative value. So what are we doing? Well, we can just simply define a new variable. So we go again to add and we define a new variable, and we have to enter the formula for the new variable, or just a name. So let's call this just VC positive, whatever. And you treat this as a mathematical format. So you take your new variable name and you say equal. And equal what? We take VC, our original variable, and I add the minimum plus 1. That's what I usually would do, so that we also get away from the 0 value. So we know that our minimum is minus 99. If we add 100 to all of the observations in total variable costs, we're not changing the relative structure of the data. It's relatively the same. We just add 100 to all of the observations into a new variable. If you click OK, we get this new variable, and you see that our first observation is not minus 99 anymore, but 1. And all of the other observations have plus 100. If we now, of course, take the log of this variable, you can see we have gotten this as a result, and it's not deleted, at least from the data set. And this might be of an advantage to you if you are having a lot of negative values, and taking a log would mean to really destroy your model. One of the things where this occurs, one of the areas is, for example, foreign direct investment flows in a net position, right? You get it for a country in a net position. Sometimes it's plus when there's investment coming in. Sometimes it's a minus when there's investment flowing out. And you can't just take all of that away. And still, we often take logs of FDI flows because they are so skewed. And we then do it usually with this method. There are other little formulas that you can do, but I think this is pretty much the easiest, and you should follow this.